Oh my god, Callum will be coming back for his holidays with malaria and syphilis. Love Island All Stars Day 12 and it was time for the recoupling. The public had already put together Sophie and Josh and Tom and Molly, so it was time for the boys to choose their new partners. Tyler chose Hannah, and for some reason I totally forgot that the other day she smacked her lips on him and then blamed him for it. But anyway, they're together now and I absolutely love the way she dresses. It's so 90s and early 2000s, it just blows my mind almost every time. Callum chose Georgia S, Anton chose Georgia 8. And when it was Chrissy's turn to choose, for some reason I actually thought he was still going to choose Arabella because Sophie was with Josh. But when he stood up, it was so awkward. And obviously they had decided to end things, right? But the way he did it, it was just so weird. And he was like, oh, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say. And I do believe that he was really stressing because he didn't know what to do. And then he ended up picking Kaz, and she wasn't really paired up with anybody anyway. But then when Kaz sat down, she's like, oh, that was really rude. And to be fair, I didn't really think it was rude because both of them agreed that it was over. But it was just so weird to watch. So Toby chose Arabella, and she was happy about that because, as they mention constantly, the two of them have got a history together. And then Mitch had to choose, and there was only Liberty left anyway. But when he was doing his speech, I was just like, oh my god, when he says, when I'm talking to this girl, time flies by, even though I don't know what time it is. And Josh and Tom were laughing, right? And I felt as if Mitch just totally took it, like, so badly. And he was like, oh, don't laugh or whatever. And then when he says, oh, like, looking at this girl's like looking in the mirror, I would be pissing myself as well. And he went in a total huff about it. I felt like Anton's speech to Hannah H was really nice. To be honest, I think he's too good for her at this point. After the recoupling, Chris went to the dressing room and told Sophie that he was still going to graft for her. And I kind of thought that it was nice that he was letting her know that, you know, just in case she didn't know. After the recoupling, Liberty was talking about Mitch's speech and she was saying, oh, do you think he likes me? And Tom was like shaking his head as if he thought he did, when he knows fine well that he's not interested in her. So then Liberty and Mitch were having a chat and he was saying, oh, like, obviously we had a good thing at the start and we got on really well, but we've had a few arguments now and now none of the girls want to talk to me because of the way you're acting. And I was like, none of the girls want to talk to you because you're a fucking dick. So then it was time to play Truth or Dare, where they had to pass the card and whoever dropped the card got a Truth or Dare. So Tyler had to kiss Kaz, which is no big deal, they've kissed like a million times before. And then Georgia H got dared to kiss the two guys that she's most attracted to other than Anton. And she chose Chris. Now at the start everybody fancied Chris anyway. But then she chose Mitch. And I was like, where did that come from? But then when she said, oh, I don't really want to kiss you because I feel bad for Liberty, that just made him think that he was right in what he was saying, that none of the girls were talking to him because of Liberty. And then when she kissed him, he had this pure stupid look on his face, and I was like, ugh. Anton was there to kiss the girl that he thought was most disloyal, and Chris was there to kiss the girl that he thought was the biggest game player, and they both kissed Arabella. I don't know what she's done outside the house or what they know about her, but they all seem to be ganging up on her, and I don't see why. Liberty was there to kiss the two boys that she found most attractive, and she really went for it, right? She was like, me and Mitch are split up, we're not paired together anymore, we're just friends, and I'm looking hot, and I'm really going to go for this. So she kissed Chris, right? Okay, fair enough, everybody fancied Chris. But then she kissed Toby. Again, I'm so confused by this, right? But then, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but when she sat down, I'm sure Mitch said, oh, very good for you or whatever, and she went, oh, fuck off. I don't know because I've only seen it once and it's literally just finished, but I'm sure that that's what she says to him. Josh had to choose his favourite and least favourite Islanders and give reasons. So he chose Hannah as his favourite because they're like OG friends, and he chose Mitch as his least favourite because he was taking an attitude with him the other day because he laughed. So then it was Callum's turn to tell his truth, and I think they asked him, who would you have picked if you couldn't be paired up with Georgia S? And he was like, oh no, I want it to be ruthless, like, I want a better truth than that. So Anton asked, how many girls have you slept with since Molly? And I kind of thought to myself, it can just lie, right? Like, there's no lie detector there. Nobody's going to know the truth, right? But then when he said 16, like, they've only been split up for 6 months, right? Now, even I think that's a lot. And I'm not a very judgmental person when it comes to these things. But I would have been fucking raging if I was her. Like, he had a cheek to come into that house, right, and pair up with her. And I've been sticking up for him for days, right? And I've been like, oh, poor Callum, he's a nice guy, he really likes Georgia S and all that. But when he said 16 girls in 6 months, I was like, ah, no, absolutely not right. The fact that she managed to sit there, she literally just went, like, in shock. I would have been raging. And then he had the audacity to turn around and say, oh, but I was travelling. How does that make it better? If anything, it makes it worse. Like, it's one thing to be in a place and know people and maybe go with your exes, or you're going out in a public, like, club or something that you know, and you're meeting girls that you've met before or you've been with before or whatever. But he's like, oh, I was travelling, and he was like going round and going with people that he didn't know in other countries. And I mean, what is, he'll be absolutely hoatching, man, hoatching. Even if he wasn't my ex, right, if I was paired up with him, if I was Georgia S, and he said that he had been with 16 girls in 6 months while he was travelling, I'd be like, that, do you know what, this is not going to go anywhere for us. It's not, because you're going to be absolutely riddled, and I choose life.